why do we learn Chinese medicine? Is to understand time. This time from when you were born until you die. But this does not finish here, when you are born until you die. Because before you die, something else happens, which people get pregnant. And then there's another generation. So that's another time. And before this person died, there's another generation. So this Yellow Emperor is already 2,500 years ago, or 2,000 years ago. Many, many generations ago. So when we say really we want to know time, it's not really one person. So this brings me to explain to you this. If you understand the essence of it, one sentence, and you can summarize everything. So what do we do with Chinese medicine when we treat infertility? This is not the same as Western medicine, and it's not the same as modern Chinese medicine. What Western medicine and modern Chinese medicine do is they look at this disease. You can't get pregnant? This is a disease. I want to solve this disease. I want to get you pregnant. Right? That's it. Then we're happy. But this is not what Chinese medicine say. Chinese medicine say what we need to do is fix this time. Meaning, a woman can't get pregnant. That means that 100 generations after her not going to be here. Like 1,000,000 years later are lost if she doesn't get pregnant. What we want to do with Chinese medicine is fix that when we treat infertility. And that's a big difference. It sounds the same, but not the same at all. Because if you don't understand its essence, it's scattered forever. You can treat the disease, and sometimes even solve the disease. Right? Like with you do IVF. You know in English, right? IVF. Or other methods, even with modern Chinese medicine. And you get a woman pregnant. This is still not success. I mean, for the patient, it's great success. For the acupuncturist, also great success. But for Chinese medicine, maybe it's not a success. Because we don't know what's going to happen 20 generations later. You know, like there was a study, I think I talked to you maybe about it, in Holland, about, you know, people in the Second World War in Holland. They had the famine, no food, and there were a lot of stress in the war. And they found out 2 generations later, like not their children, but the children, that they had some health problems. In Western medicine they say genetically, because of the stress hormones that the grandparents had. Now it's 50 or 60 years later, they said these children now start having problems. Now they're adults already. Because 50 years ago, the parents had stress, which was a considerable stress, not just a little bit stress, right? During the war, and didn't have food to eat and things like that. So all of a sudden, Western medicine also start realizing that maybe just treating this right now is maybe not enough. You know, because next generation is not less important. 2 generations, 5 generations later is not less important. In Chinese medicine, in the first quote that we said before, right? The sages, they knew the Tao. They followed the yin and yang. Why? To live to the fullest, the heavenly years of them, their children, their grandchildren, and 2,000 years later, today. This is Chinese medicine. So when we talk about Chinese medicine, we said, yeah, listen, I get someone pregnant, why not? That's what all the IVF clinic says too. Why not? Get pregnant. But think about it. If they get drugs and they have side effects, sometimes severe side effects, and I see patients sometimes, I feel really sad. You know, sometimes they come for me for acupuncture and they do drugs, like they come to you. I feel really sad when I look at the patient And I don't give her herbs because she does drugs, so I don't know what's going to happen with the herbs and drugs. So I just do acupuncture, and she comes healthy. I mean, she can't get pregnant, but she looks healthy, she feels good, the tongue looks good, the pulse feels good. And then she starts the drugs. And then all of a sudden the coating on the tongue start to to peel in the back, which is the worst place to peel, right? Where the kidneys, where the lower burner start to peel. And then she said, I start to feel really swollen here. And at night I start having hot flashes. And the doctor said it's normal side effects. For Chinese medicine, there's nothing about side effects. Side effects in Chinese medicine, like if I give herbs to someone and they have side effects, not so often, but sometimes, maybe, this is not a good direction. This is a deterioration of the direction. So in Chinese medicine, if this happens, and it doesn't happen often, but if it does, immediately we change course. We don't say, listen, if you take these herbs, it's known that you have side effects, so just live with it. And then you deteriorate more and more. And I said, yeah, it's good, because I know that these herbs can get you pregnant. So you take them more and more, even if you feel more and more miserable. This doesn't make sense. This means that I don't understand this, and I don't understand time. Because if the mother or the father, but let's say we just talk about the mother now, by the time of conception, or before conception, or during the pregnancy, she starts feeling bad, the pulse is not good, the tongue deteriorates, she starts having hot flashes. So let's just think about it in our heart. Could that be good for the next generation? I mean, maybe it doesn't make difference. Maybe, because Western medicine many times goes back to this assumption. You can't prove it. To prove it, you need to make 100 years study. And even if you make 100 years study, you can still not prove it. Because in Western scientific way, you have to isolate the item that you want to prove. So she only takes drugs, and she doesn't do anything else for the next 50 years. She doesn't have car accidents, she doesn't eat bad food, she doesn't have anxiety and stress in the family. You can't do that. These studies can't be done. But Chinese medicine, the way it works, is not like this. It's not like science, but rather it's scientific. Scientific means we observe the rules of nature, the stars, the moon, the sun. We observe the rule on the earth. And then we sit quietly and we try to make sense out of it. We try to understand what they said. The sages, they knew the Tao. We try to understand this Tao. They say, what is this Tao? They said they follow yin and yang. So we said, okay, we try to understand what yin and yang. Like in our mind, in our heart, we try to understand yin and yang. And then we try to apply it to food and diet, lifestyle, what we said, and not wasting our energy for nothing, right? Then we could reach this time concept, which they say is the heavenly years, right? Then we can live to the fullest, 100 years or whatever the full time is. But if we don't understand it, and then we make the mother sick, or we make her yin and yang not good when she gets pregnant. So we got her pregnant, but this is a small victory and a huge loss, right? Because we want this time for the next generation and the next generation. It's not like we want to get her pregnant and we get our money and that's it. Everybody's happy. She's happy, I'm happy, the doctor is happy, everybody's happy. It's not about that. I want to get my patients pregnant. I want to get their kids to have long life. I want to have their kids get pregnant and have their kids have long life. This is Chinese